Sometimes I feel drawn to certain places without knowing anything about them. They would always resurface in my mind until I finally go there. The island I'm talking about lays between the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea. The Andaman Islands. Port Blair, April 2024. I had two things in mind coming here: recover from my food poisoning and being the next Hunter S. Thompson. I weighed 10 pounds less than before coming to India. I always lose weight on every body part except my face. I kinda lost hope for my face anyway, the moment I broke half of it, drunkenly failing to front flip on the trampoline. Well, at least the drinking was something I had in common with Hunter S. Back to Port Blair, the capital, if I remember correctly. I was still weak, too weak to be out in the sun all day, which I of course did anyway. Almost collapsed and had to sit down on the side of the street, with locals passing me by thinking what a fucking loser I am. Still need time to recover in order to explore. So I decided to do tourist stuff instead. There was an old British colonial prison, Kalapani, you apparently had to visit according to the owner of my hostel. I found it to be quite nice. Well, in the realms of how nice a prison can be, right? After seeing several torture devices and dark, moldy cells, prison did not seem that aspiring anymore. I think I would have been raped pretty fast anyway. I'm not a fighter, and my cooking skills were also not that great, so what other options would I have left? The rest of my time I spent in my hotel room, watching videos about people doing cool stuff in the city I was at. Pathetic. Anyway, it was time to leave, I thought. May the next island be with me. It kinda was. Havelock Island. The island seemed like a typical honeymoon destination, especially for very good-looking South Korean couples, it appeared. Sometimes I get lonely, but then whenever the chance comes up to meet someone, I act like I don't need anyone. My hypocrisy makes me sick sometimes. Anyway, Havelock Island, right? Beautiful beaches, beautiful resorts, adventure. So far, nothing. I went to the resort's private beach that was covered in plastic bottles and cigarette stumps, which I thought gave it more character. So I continued to come here, and whenever I did, I noticed a mean-looking group of local guys around my age, sitting in a circle, smoking weed out of a self-made wooden bong. We angrily looked at each other and went our way for 2 or 3 days, until I unexpectedly felt the urge to greet them. I think I said something like, "Nice bong," or something equally stupid. They said, "Thanks man, wanna hit?" When I was 18, I decided to be a smoker for some time, listening to reggae, not going to school, and spending every bit of money my parents gave me for my driver's license on shitty weed. In the beginning I had a great time with that. I then had a girlfriend and all I did was playing video games, smoke weed and fuck. The perfect life, right? Well, someday my brain decided to not give me any more dopamine from weed and replace it with paranoia, which then turned me into a neurotic lunatic who was unable to leave his room for months at a time. So I stopped smoking weed, until now. After the second bong hit, I felt the paranoia creeping up inside of me, which sowed itself in me not being able to talk anymore. That's when Shireen turned up. A somewhat good-looking British woman in her early 40s, living in the resort next to the private beach. She came up to us, beginning to insult the guys I was with, which resulted in me beginning to panic. Weed was illegal after all in India, so I thought, well, we're fucked. Shireen came closer, with mad eyes, and snatched the bong out of the hands of one of the guys while continuing to insult us. My heart was pounding. She then raised the bong to her mouth, lighted it, and took a deep hit while exhaling with a smile. "Hi, I'm Shireen, by the way. Who the fuck are you?" Turns out, they knew each other. Shireen started coming here 10 years ago, working in the UK half a year as a nurse, then come here for the other half. "Who needs winter anyway?" she said. I agreed, silently, still unable to speak. Shireen took another hit, then slowly stripped off her bikini before going into the ocean. Was I hallucinating? According to the faces of the other guys, I wasn't. "You want her?" one of the guys asked. "We all had," he said. Well, it was time for me to go. The next day, the gate to the beach was locked. I decided to go for a walk instead. I also felt a drink wouldn't hurt. I went deep into the jungle. With me, Rum Diary from Hunter S. Thompson, a thumbs up Coke, and a small bottle of Jägermeister.
Alright, welcome from the middle of nowhere.
1 hour into the jungle, I felt as if someone was staring at me, but whenever I turned around, no one was there. That changed. I heard steps coming from behind me on the right, and there I saw him, a tribal-esque looking guy, standing still, looking at me. I waved. He didn't. No cars, no one else. Fuck. I continued walking, so did he. Whenever I turned, he stood still. He was about 50 meters behind me and continued to stay there while I was getting deeper into the jungle. And then he just disappeared. Poof. And what appeared instead was a strip of wild beach on the side of the road.
Alright, what's up? I'm here at the secluded beach, as you can see. I walked here, I think 1.5 hours through dense jungle, and I'm kind of fucked. I am currently reading Hunter S. Thompson's The Rum Diary, and I was wondering what he would do if he was at this place right now. And the answer was quite obvious. It's Jägermeister, or some kind of rum, of course. So I brought myself something to prepare that. I don't know if that holds. Will that do? Nah, fuck it. Alright, so we have thumbs up Coke, Jägermeister, taking a little swig, open that fucker. Yes. So, I'm gonna enjoy the view, and yeah, I'm gonna enjoy my drink, man. Cheers. The cigarettes are also very nice, and that's anything I can say about smoking. I think I just enjoy it. I know it's not healthy. I'm probably gonna die sooner, and I'm quite fine with that, to be honest. Look at this fucker.
It was time for me to leave. Again. Neil Island. I was staying at the bamboo hut, which appeared to be some kind of hostel. I've always been jealous of people in hostels. The way they are able to just talk to someone, making connections, making friends, was something I was not blessed with. So I was laying in my hut, with no electricity, trying to find the courage to just go outside and say hello. It took me an hour of positive self-talk until I left my hut. Some guys were sitting on a big porch playing board games. They looked at me and I then tried to say hey, but my voice would not cooperate properly. They said hey back with a question mark, and I followed with silence, which made everyone awkward and me wanting to leave, which I then did. I saw a path at the end of the property that led me to one of the coolest beach pathways or whatever I've ever seen. Who needs connection when you have this? I thought, trying to convince me. It didn't. There was a rumor of big snakes inhabiting the island, and it only took me 2 minutes before I found the first trace in the sand. I followed the trace over black rocks and surreal formations of driftwood until I reached an abandoned cafe and decided to make a local cigarette review.
At least have been the best cigarettes I smoked here. I smoked Benson & Hedges, which I disliked. I also disliked them at home. I would never smoke them at home. And there's an even cheaper brand that is called Goldflake, which also sucks ass. It's insane. It's insane. So I think that's the golden middle ground, pricely and also taste-wise. So yeah, let me just show you. Wait a second. That should be alright, right? Yeah. Alright. That's the package. It's nice because it says live your passion, and I like myself a little text that encourage me smoking more. I love it. Alright. So cigarettes don't look that bad. And now the taste test. Alright. So I hope I can get this light on. Of course. Fantastic. That's fantastic. Just a good old cigarette. So, I know no one asked for it, but I gave you a review anyway, because I frankly do not give a shit. Now gonna smoke up a cigarette and then continue to search for a bicycle, because I really need one and don't want to walk around like a stupid idiot and get sunburned again.
I then followed a path through the jungle behind the abandoned cafe that led me onto a street, and that street led me to a shop that rented bicycles. Well, sometimes it all makes sense. The next days I spent exploring the island by bicycle. The island itself was touristy, but not too much, so that I found myself beginning to enjoy it. I had a cafe I went every morning, where I would sit on the same table, either reading or writing. The rest of the day I would just cycle to different places, eat something, go to bed, repeat. One day the owner of the cafe asked me, "What the hell are you writing all the time?" "If only I knew," I responded, which he found amusing. Turned out, he was also a diving instructor, so the next day I went diving. I always had this hidden superiority complex inside of me, that my time in a place gets significantly worse when I see other tourists. And it's a stupid thing, I know, but it's always happening. I can't deny it. I just made friends with a local diving instructor. We were hanging out in a cafe talking when I saw her, a Czech woman, sitting in front of me. I felt angry, and then stupid for feeling angry. She smiled in my direction and said hi. Turned out she was pretty cool, well, and hot. Also, she had something going with the owner of the cafe we were sitting in, which made it kinda awkward. She also knew my diving instructor. I felt like an idiot, again. They showed me a secluded beach you could only access on low tide and watch the sunset while smoking weed. Why can it not be normal, I thought, while the sky turned purple and my eyes heavier. Port Blair. Last evening, same place where I started. A rooftop bar, overviewing the city. Well, I did not become the next Hunter S. Thompson, I thought, having my third drink of the evening. But what I can do is honor him. And that I did.